Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a quick video giving my thoughts on some recent news that HBO is officially in talks with George R.R. Martin, discussing the possibility of a Game of Thrones spin-off series. And I'll put the link in the description for you guys so you can go ahead and check it out for yourselves, kind of read the information about it, because for Game of Thrones fans, this is pretty huge. This is, pretty big news. Of course, we know that Game of Thrones has only 2 seasons left for the finale of the show, for the final couple of the show, Season 7, Season 8. And they're also going to be reduced seasons. We're only going to get to see 13 episodes in total, but they're doing 7 and 6. So Season 7 should be 7, Season 8 should be 6 episodes, and they should be pretty big episodes. You know, we're probably not going to get a lot of filler in here. We're probably not going to get a lot of wasted time or episodes where not much happens. It's probably going to be a pretty huge final couple seasons for Game of Thrones. So it's very exciting for us who are, fans of the series and been following it since the beginning. So I'll put the link in the description to the Entertainment Weekly interview article, which references it, and it has it listed as Game of Thrones prequel series in talks. Now, I think part of that is because, and we'll get into the details here, but we have Bloys, who's the president of programming for HBO, confirming talks with George R.R. Martin over a Game of Thrones spin-off or possible prequel series. And it says, I quote, "I would say it's still kind of preliminary ongoing talks," Bloys replied when asked if he's zeroed in on a specific idea from Martin's thousands of years of Westeros history to potentially develop into a new show. "There are areas we are exploring, but I wouldn't point to anyone and say, this is what we're going to do." So right now, we don't know if they're planning on doing a prequel or they're going to be doing maybe a sequel to Game of Thrones, something after what we see in the conclusion. We'll have to see how it all finishes up in the next 2 seasons to really speculate on whether or not it's even kind of possible to do, a sequel. We'll have to see who's still alive at the end of the series. But so far, it looks like they're most likely basing it on something in the history of Westeros that, of course, George R.R. Martin has written, rather than creating something totally new, which is good. A lot of people have speculated maybe we could see Robert's Rebellion, because that would be really cool. I'm sure there's lots of other things they could do, but maybe they'll have to look through and discuss with George R.R. Martin and kind of find which one makes sense most for a new series that would give them at least a few seasons, or something they could maybe dig into for 5 or 6 seasons, and for it to still be really good throughout that process. So we'll have to see what they decide to do. But just to give my initial thoughts on the whole concept of them doing a prequel or a sequel or some kind of spin-off, they have to. They have to. It's necessary. I mean, Game of Thrones is like one of the biggest shows ever in the history of television. For HBO to just drop the series and be finished with it and not have anything for Game of Thrones fans from a business perspective would be absolutely horrendous. You would have to have something for fans. You have to have something there. Even if they have to, maybe take a year or 2 years or something to sort it out, and, there'll be a break in between the series. Still, though, I think there's so much more potential for them to create additional series, based on A Song of Ice and Fire and George R.R. Martin's, all of his work over the years. So, absolutely, I'm expecting to see something. I would be pretty devastated if they didn't, come out with anything after Game of Thrones, and that was the end of the show, and there was no prequel, there was no spin-off series or something. Of course, the president of programming being asked about this and giving his thoughts. I mean, of course, the president of programming, he wants more Game of Thrones. He doesn't want for 2 years, to have the biggest show, biggest ratings HBO's ever had, and then just go down to 0 after that with nothing new. So obviously he's going to try, and I'm really happy to see that HBO is already starting to plan for after these next 2 seasons and to try to get something sorted out. The next part says, "We also asked Bloys if Thrones Season 8 episode count has been determined. Entertainment Weekly and others have previously reported the producers, David Benioff and Dan Weiss, aim to keep the final season to 6 episodes. I'll take as much as I can get, the executive says. So, of course, like I just said, HBO, from HBO's perspective, they're going to take as much as they can get. They want, it's all money, right? I mean, Game of Thrones is killing it. They're going to take as much as they can get, and they're going to make it. So if Dan and Dan, or Dave and Dan, decide all they can do is just do 6 episodes for the last, and that's all they can do, then so be it. But if they can get more, obviously HBO is going to sign up for more for sure. Another question about the last season is whether the final couple episodes could be released in theaters as a movie, something that Martin and others have lobbied for given the show's epic scope and cinematic production values. HBO insiders have long suggested that this wasn't going to happen, as the network prefers focus on serving its subscribers. I want everything I can get for HBO. I'll just leave it at that. So we'll see what they decide to do in the epic conclusion. I could see going to the theaters and watching it in a movie. I know some of the theaters where I live, they actually play the finales of Game of Thrones. Like, you can go and see the the finale episodes for each season at a lot of theaters. A lot of them hold it because it's just such an epic, amazing, series. I mean, if you look at the last 2 episodes of season 6, Battle of the Bastard Wins Winter. I mean, these were incredible episodes. They're better than almost any movie I've seen in theaters. I mean, there's some movies that, some really great movies that I think you can hold a candle to it. But Battle of the Bastards was the most epic, battle scene ever. No matter what, compared to movies, it's the best ever, I think. So, really good stuff. I love to see the article. Sorry I didn't get my thoughts on it sooner, guys. This one's been out for a while now, but finally getting around to it now that we have some time. And I can't wait for Game of Thrones to return with Season 7. I am expecting to see something from HBO after Game of Thrones ends, be it a prequel, a sequel. I don't care. Just do something, better than nothing. And I don't think any of us are sitting here expecting it to be better than, Game of Thrones was. I don't think there's anybody sitting here saying, well, I expect the prequel or the sequel to be even better than. No, I mean, I don't expect that. I don't think any of us hardly expect that. But just to have something after the series ends, I think is going to be what HBO is going to need to set as a goal. I think they got to make it happen. So, write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about this great interview and info from HBO about the possibility of a Game of Thrones prequel or sequel. Which would you rather see? What part would you like to see? Would you like to see Robert's Rebellion? Would you like to see them try to do some kind of sequel or something like that for the spinoff? Let me know what you guys think. And if you like this video, don't forget to thumb it the hell up below. Like the shit out of this video. Share, favorite, and if you're new, ring the bell at the bottom to turn on notifications and subscribe. So for this one, guys, see you soon. If you guys have any questions for Game of Thrones Q&A, I could oblige. I could do one within the next couple weeks. Send me all the questions you got and any video suggestions for Game of Thrones videos for this year. So for this one, guys, see you soon. As always, it's Trav saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.
You better subscribe.